It is 6:40 in the evening, and you are holding $5 you are about to lose on purpose. Not gamble. Lose. The drink, the ticket, the something by the register. $5 is the amount that disappears without testimony. Nobody remembers spending it, which is the entire reason it works. This is a story about that same $5 every single day for 40 years, and about the two people it quietly turns you into. Every number in this video was run before it was spoken. Here is the entire model stated up front, because a projection you cannot check is just a story with confident lighting. $5 a day. That is $152.08 a month. It goes into a plain index fund that owns a small slice of every large company in the market. The fund earns 8% a year on average, not every year, not smoothly, but as a long-run average, which is roughly what broad stock markets have delivered over long stretches of history. The window is 40 years. That is the whole machine. No stock picking, no timing, no secret. If any of those three numbers changes, the ending changes, and we will be honest about that before this video is over. Now, the $5 needs a person to happen to. Call him Sam. Sam is 25. It is 6:40 in the evening, and he is standing at the counter where the $5 usually dies. The drink is in the cooler behind him. The ticket is under the glass. Tonight he buys neither. He walks out with nothing in his hands, which feels stranger than it should, sits in his car, and opens an app he downloaded the night before. He moves $5 into an index fund. One button. No opinion required. The screen says his balance is $5. It looks ridiculous. It looks like a child's savings jar rendered in a serious font. There is no rush, no reveal, no number scratched into view. There is just $5 sitting in something that owns a sliver of every large company in the country, doing absolutely nothing he can see. So Sam does the only intelligent thing a person can do with a habit this fragile. He removes himself from it. He sets the transfer to happen automatically at $5 a day, batched out of his checking account, before he can hold a small election about it at a register somewhere. The money leaves on a schedule. He does not vote. $152 a month now exits his account towards something he cannot touch, taste, or scratch. And here is the strange part, the part that carries the next 40 years. He barely notices. The $5 was always going to disappear. Every day, at some counter, in some form, it vanished without leaving a mark. Sam has not given anything up. He has only changed where the disappearing happens. One full year passes. 365 days. 365 $5 decisions that were never actually decided because the automation decided them. The balance reads $1,893. Sam put in $1,825 of that himself. The market added $68 while he slept. $68. A year of discipline priced at roughly one tank of gas. It is almost an insult. The math is not hiding this. In year one, compounding is nearly indistinguishable from doing nothing at all. He mentions it at lunch once. His coworker Eric asks how the little app is going, and Sam tells him the number, all of it, including the 68. Eric laughs, not cruelly, honestly. $68 in a year, he says. I tip more than that. He is not wrong. Eric buys lunch out every day, a cold can from the corner store most evenings, a ticket when the jackpot gets loud enough to make the news. Call it $5 a day, scattered across 100 small comforts he will never be able to list later. He enjoys every one of them. Sam closes his laptop and says nothing, because there is nothing to say that would not sound like a sermon. The difference between the two men this year is $68 and a habit nobody can see. That is the entire scoreboard. The $68 is not the part that matters. The habit is the part that matters, because the $68 is temporary and the habit is a machine. 5 years in. Sam is 30. The balance is $11,175. He contributed $9,125 of it. The other $2,050 appeared on its own, manufactured out of nothing but time and patience. $11,000 built entirely out of things he did not buy. He does the accounting in his head one night and realizes what the number actually is. It is every energy drink, every impulse item, every ticket at every register he has stood at since he was 25. Except instead of being in a landfill, it is in an account with his name on it. The $5 did not stop existing when he stopped spending it. It just stopped evaporating. That same month, his friend Greg texts him a screenshot. A coin. A ticker Sam has never heard of. Up 400% in a week. Greg has put $2,000 in and he is not shy about the arithmetic. His thing made more before lunch on Tuesday than Sam's boring fund makes in a year. He tells Sam to stop being a coward. Sam looks at the screenshot for a long moment because the shape of it is familiar. A small amount becoming a large amount instantly, with no time in between. He has seen that exact promise before. It comes printed on cardboard, it costs $5, and you scratch it off with a coin from the cup holder. The venue is fancier. The promise is identical. He texts back that he will pass. Greg sends a laughing emoji and buys more. 3 months after the screenshot, Greg's coin is down 90%, and Greg has stopped mentioning it. Nobody brings it up. That is the etiquette of these things. Sam is 35 now. 10 years in, the balance is $27,823, $18,250 of it his, $9,573 of it manufactured by the market. And this is the year something quietly changes inside the machine. For the first time, the market adds more to the account in a single year, about $2,056, than Sam himself does with his $1,825. Read that again, because it is the first hinge of the whole story. The account has taken a second job. Nobody assigned it, nobody supervises it. It simply started out earning its owner's own deposits, and from this year forward, it never really stops. Then the year goes bad anyway. The whole market drops. Headlines use the word crash because headlines always use the word crash. Sam's balance falls by roughly a third in a few weeks. More money gone on paper than he earned at his job all quarter. This is the part of the average nobody mentions. 8% a year on average includes years like this one. The average is not a promise of smoothness. It is the arithmetic that remains after the smoothness has been thoroughly destroyed. Greg, the same Greg, sells everything near the bottom. He tells Sam he saw it coming, that he is in cash now. Safe. Sam does not sell, but it is softer than a decision, quieter than courage. He simply does not open the app. He lets the number fall in the dark, where it cannot ask him for an opinion, and the $152 keeps leaving every month, buying the same fund at the lowest prices it has traded at in years. He is not brave. He is barely even paying attention. And it turns out that barely paying attention held for long enough is the rarest skill in finance. By the time everyone agrees it is safe to come back in, Sam's boring automation has already spent months buying the bottom nobody could see. The market recovers, the way it has after every decline so far in its history, which is not a guarantee, only a record. Sam is 40. 15 years in, the balance is $52,627, of which $27,375 is his, and $25,252 is growth. Look closely at those two numbers, because they are about to trade places. In month 190, a few weeks before Sam's 41st birthday, the account crosses a line almost nobody ever gets to see, because almost nobody keeps a habit alive long enough to reach it. The money the market has made passes the money Sam has put in. $28,914 of growth against $28,896 of contributions. $18 of daylight. $18. And it never closes again. From this month until the end of the story, the majority owner of Sam's account is time itself. Everything before this point, Sam was pushing a stone uphill $5 at a time, and the hill barely acknowledged him. Everything after this point, the stone is rolling on its own, and his only remaining job is to not stand in front of it. That spring, a coworker gets laid off. A decent man, same floor, same title. He has nothing behind him, no cushion, no buffer, nothing between him and the first missed paycheck, but the hope of a next one. Sam watches him carry a box to the parking lot and understands something for the first time. The $5 was never only about a retirement 40 years away. It was always Also, a wall. A quiet, invisible wall between Sam and the version of a bad year that ends in panic. He does not tell the man about the account. He buys his lunch and says nothing. The number is loudest when it stays silent. 20 years. Sam is 45. The balance is $89,580. His lifetime contributions are $36,500. The growth is $53,080, nearly 1.5 times everything he ever put in. He goes to a reunion that summer. Someone arrives in a leased car that costs more than Sam makes in a year. Someone else narrates a watch. Sam drives the same paid-off car he has had for 8 years, the one that owes him nothing and asks for nothing. Eric is there, same Eric. He still buys lunch out. He still buys the ticket when the jackpot gets loud. He asks, half joking, whether Sam ever did anything with that little app from back in the day. Sam says he's stuck with it. Eric asks how much is in there now. Sam tells him. The table goes quiet in a way Sam did not ask for and does not enjoy. Someone changes the subject, and Sam is grateful. Because there is no way to explain over drinks that the number is not a windfall and not a salary and not luck. It is just 20 years of a $5 question, answered the same way every evening until the question stopped feeling like a question. 25 years. The balance is $144,635. Contributions, $45,625. Growth, $99,010. The market has now handed Sam more than double what he ever handed it. He reads the headlines differently now. The ones that run every few months about how most people his age have almost nothing saved, how a comfortable retirement is slipping out of reach for ordinary earners, how the math no longer works for people like him. Here is the thing. Sam is an ordinary earner. He did the same kind of job as the people in those headlines, made a similar salary, paid the same rent, sat in the same traffic, complained about the same Mondays. The only structural difference between his balance sheet and the national statistics is a $5 decision that got automated in his 20s and then left alone. And if 5 feels like too much, the machine scales down without breaking. Even $1 a day, $14,600 over the same 40 years, becomes about $106,000 under the same assumptions. The mechanism does not care about the size of the payment. It only cares about the length of the runway. 30 years. $226,659. Sam's total contributions have reached $54,750. Increments small enough to lose in a couch, stacked for 3 decades. The other $171,909 was never his to earn. It belongs to time, and time built it in the background while Sam was busy having a completely ordinary life. This is the decade the math flips for good. In a strong year, the account now grows more from its own size than Sam could add by hand if he doubled his contributions. Tripled them, even. He has become a passenger to his own balance. The thing he built is now permanently bigger than the building of it. Here is a number that should not be possible. And is. If Sam had stopped entirely at 35, never invested another dollar after year 10, just left the $18,000 he had put in alone, the account would still have grown to roughly $304,000 by 65. The first 10 years of $5 evenings left untouched would have outbuilt most people's entire working lives. That is not a reason to stop. It is a measurement of what the early years were secretly worth. The $5 from Sam's very first evening at the counter all by itself has grown into about $121. The $5 from his last evening will only ever be $5. Every day of delay quietly swaps a $121 bill for a $5. Sam does not talk about the number, not to his kids, not to his co-workers, not to Greg, who is currently very confident about a different coin. The number lives in a place nobody looks, which is exactly where it grew. 40 years from the evening he walked out of the store with empty hands, Sam is 65. The balance is $530,924. Sit with the breakdown, because the breakdown is the entire story compressed into 3 figures. Of that $500,000, the amount Sam actually contributed, $5 at a time, every day for 4 decades, is $73,000. The other $457,924 is growth. Money he never earned, never invoiced, never worked one additional hour for, never watched arrive. He did not get lucky. He did not pick a winner. He did not time a single thing. In fact, the one time the market demanded a decision from him, his entire contribution was to not open an app. He skipped a drink and a ticket roughly 14,600 times in a row and let the smallest possible amount sit in the most boring possible place for the longest possible time. That is the whole mechanism. There is no second secret. There is no version of this where somebody hands you the 458,000 faster. The slowness was the price, and almost nobody is willing to pay in a currency that takes 40 years to clear. Now, one more figure, the one this genre of video almost never gives you, and the one your most skeptical instinct has been waiting for. $500,000, 40 years from now, will not buy what $500,000 buys today. Prices rise. Anyone who shows you the big number without saying so is selling the lighting, not the math. So here's the same story in today's money. If Sam's $5 keeps pace with inflation, meaning it is always worth what $5 is worth right now, rising as prices rise, the ending balance comes to about $232,000 in today's purchasing power. Not $500,000, $232,000 real, current, spendable dollars built from pocket change by a person who never earned more than an ordinary salary. That is the number that survives scrutiny. And notice what it still is. More than most households his age have saved in total, sitting behind an ordinary life like a second person who was working the whole time. Eric retires the same year Sam does. Same company, same kind of job, similar salary the whole way through. A decent man. Never missed a shift in his life. Over 40 years, Eric's $5 a day added up too. It always adds up. That is the part nobody escapes. His version came to the same $73,000, the exact same money. He drank it, he scratched it, he ate it at 100 different counters and tossed the losing tickets on the passenger seat. The two men stood at the same registers, on the same evenings, holding the same $5 bill for 40 years. Eric has a lifetime of small comforts he genuinely enjoyed and mostly cannot remember, plus his pension. Sam has nearly all of those same comforts. He was never a monk about it. Plus his pension, plus $530,000 that nobody watched him build. And here is the part worth sitting with. Nobody can point to the day the two men split. There was no day. There was no dramatic choice, no turning point a movie could film. There were only two different answers to the same tiny question, asked again every evening at 6:40, until the answers stopped being choices and quietly became two different lives. If tonight is the night the question starts getting a different answer from you, run it with your own numbers first, your amount, your timeline, your assumptions. The members of Wealth Logicians have a full vault of the calculators behind these videos, including the tools for finding exactly where your own contributions get overtaken by growth. The link is in the description. The math is waiting either way. Somewhere right now, it is 6:40 in the evening, and someone is standing at a convenience store counter with $5 already in their hand. The drink, the ticket the cashier slides across without looking up. They will scratch it in the parking lot with a coin from the cup holder, and it will be nothing. And they already know it will be nothing. They are not doing anything wrong. $5 is nothing. That has always been the trap and the door at the same time. The $5 is too small to matter, which is exactly why almost nobody keeps it, and exactly why it quietly decides everything for the few who do. You were never going to feel the $5 either way. It disappears whether you spend it or keep it. The only thing you ever actually got to choose is what it was turning you into while you were not paying attention.